Hey everyone, it's me, Joel D. In this video, we're going to talk about setting up Google Search Console. So some people like to do Search Console first and then Analytics. I like to do it the opposite way. I just find it easier to verify your domain when you do Analytics first because you can utilize that as one of the verification steps. So you'll see what I mean in a second. But basically, this video is going to walk you through how to create your Search Console account, how to add and verify your site, and then how to add your XML sitemap, because that's what you're going to need in order to be found on Google. So you need to add your XML sitemap. Again, SEO Yoast makes it super easy for this. They actually it automatically creates an XML sitemap for you where you can just add the URL to that in Search Console and it does everything for you. Again, these tools that we're using make things so easy. All of this was much more difficult back in the day when I was manually coding a lot of websites. So let's get started. And the first thing we're going to do is create a Search Console account. In order to do that, you're going to come over to search.google.com/search-console/welcome, and it'll bring you to this page. Don't worry about this U-6 or U/6. This is just because I have multiple user accounts within my profile. So make sure you're on the right Google account here. And another way to get to this screen is to add a property here. We're not going to do that because we're going to add a property right here. And the way I'm going to do this is URL prefix, because for this purpose, it's just easier. And I'm not going to walk you through the DNS verification, which you could do with your domain only. This is your URL prefix option. So we can just enter our entire prefix like HTTPS, as opposed to getting everything that would go before your domain name, if that makes sense. All right, so I'm going to start off with HTTPS dognerve.com. And just to quickly reference what the difference is here, you would have to create multiple URLs here. So you would do one for HTTP, you could do one for having www. etc. This option requires DNS verification, which isn't too difficult, but it usually doesn't happen instantly, and I want it to in this video. Usually takes a day or two for them to verify. But as you can see, I would only put in dognerve.com, and it would automatically put all of these prefixes in there for me, so I wouldn't have to do them separately. All right, so I'm going to click on continue. It's going to check verification, and I'm logged into Dognerve, and I'm also logged in or connected to Analytics. So that's why I wanted to do it this way. Ownership is auto verified, and the verification method is Google Analytics. So that's why I do Google Analytics first. If you listen to a lot of people, they'll usually do console first, but I just find this easier. Now, to stay verified, don't remove the gtag.js tracking code, which is, what we added through Monster Insights. So we won't be doing that. To avoid losing verification, you may want to add multiple verification methods from the settings ownership verification, and you can do that, but we won't in this video. I'm just going to go to property, and here you can see it'll just give you a little wizard on what to do, but we'll say get an overview of your property's performance, index, etc. And success rate. Open the report for a deeper dive. Got it. Use core web vitals report to see your pages perform based on real world usage data. Again, you're not going to get much information here at first. The whole point of creating the Search Console is so we can add our sitemap and start getting indexed by Google, because you need to tell them like, hey, I have a website, I want it to be indexed, come check it out, and make sure you index my URLs so I can be found. All right, now to do that, we're going to go to sitemap. So the next thing that we're going to do, now that we have a Search Console is go to sitemaps, and I'm going to enter my sitemap URL, and by default for WordPress and Yoast it's always sitemap.xml. Now I'll click submit, and it'll submit the sitemap, and you'll see that it was submitted successfully. So if you put in the wrong URL, you get an error message, but you're going to see Google will periodically process it and look for changes, so you will be notified if anything goes wrong with this in the future, which is perfect. All right, don't worry about this right now. It'll say couldn't fetch or 0 URLs discovered. That's going to increase over time. It takes a little time for this to go through. So it's saying sitemap could not be read, but it was successfully submitted. So I'll come back in a day or so and see how many URLs have been discovered. But also remember, there may be, I mean, we don't have a lot of, I don't have a lot of pages right now. I'm using active wise, there's about 4 pages on my site right now. So I shouldn't be, you know, expecting a bunch. Like I have some sites out here with thousands of discovered URLs. So if you're one of the people like that, be on the lookout for a lot of discovered URLs. If not, don't be surprised if you only see a couple of discovered URLs, because our site is such a microsite, the one that I created, that I'm not looking for a lot. All right. The other thing to do is, actually I did want to show you on sitemaps. I wanted to click in the sitemap and open the sitemap just to show you what this looks like. And dognerve.com/sitemap XML. This is what it looks like. And here are my pages, and they're not the actual pages that you see. So Yoast SEO, as you can see, generated by Yoast. This is XML sitemap meant for consumption by search engines. So there's multiple XML documents within this, and this is what makes this helpful for all search engines. And we don't do any of this. So anytime we're making updates to WordPress, anytime we're making updates in Yoast, URL changes, etc., they're automatically being updated in these XML docs. And when Google indexes this is why it takes a little while, is they're going to go through each of these XML docs and pull and find the corresponding URLs that need to be indexed. All right. So I'd just like to show that, but you can see that it is working. So even though it's saying that it wasn't found or whatever it was saying, it cannot be read, that's the reason at this point. Just look back in a day or two, and you should start seeing this fill in. So that pretty much wraps up this video, because like I said, it takes time for one to get indexed. It could take, you know, days to start indexing your URLs, and also it takes a while before your data and your reports are active, and you'll keep getting notices like this, please check it again in a day or so, and you'll see this for a while. And then what you're going to be able to do though after is see how your pages are performing. You can check your URL inspection, the coverage, the removals, what your core vitals are. They give you a bunch of tips on what is affecting SEO. So they'll give you readability tips for mobile. That tends to be one that's very common, is your text on your mobile device is set too small, or your CTA buttons are too close together. That always seems to be a common issue. And if you're not set up or configured right for mobile, Google tends to be mobile first these days, so that could affect your SEO rankings. They give you everything you need to know. So that's the purpose of this video. Get it set up, get indexed, which we did already, that simple. And now just start watching the stuff fill in, track everything, take their advice, and make any edits to your site that they recommend. And you're gonna be well on your way to ranking well because of that. All right, so hope this was helpful. Obviously it's not a ton that you need to do right now. I'll probably create later videos or trainings or even courses around, because I could literally create an entire course around analytics, including Search Console. So we'll get into that further later, but at this point, just make sure you're indexed. Make sure that you are set up and configured SEO friendly from mobile. Take all their advice that they give you and make those tweaks and adjustments. All right, leave a comment, post to our Facebook group, and we will see you in the next video. Thanks, everyone.